Right, I thought I would finally get through these images that I've had on my Google page for almost a week, and there's another video downloading. It's taking ages, but this image here I've shown you before, and I've told you that it was in fact a partition wall and that this is wood. And if you go and do a Google search on partition walls, there's many different types, and they can either come in a crisscross type or squares, yes, like a lattice work or even just a straight lattice work, and that's either one, you know, is what this is. You can see where they're joined together. Where is it now? Yeah, you know, you can see where these join together, and each slab is about the same size, and that's because they will have either been, again, in squares or crisscross, and it's just collapsed on itself. It actually looks quite thick, and that's just standard. Again, that's standard. You know, there's many different types. This is all mud rock here. You can see I'm not actually sure where the site is. I wish I would have downloaded more images of it, even wrote it down, but I can absolutely guarantee you that it is a megalithic, well, not a megalithic site, an ancient site that they're now excavating. And I put this straight down to a partition wall because I know exactly what it is, and it's saturated or petrified wood. These here could in fact be mud fossils. Okay, could be livers or kidneys or hearts, I don't know. The reason why I showed you that again is because it was leading onto this, and this is obviously a site. It's down here where it is, you can read that. But obviously archaeologists have peeled back some bush somewhere, and they are starting to excavate this site. And I think this is the exact same thing again. Archaeologists will put this down that these are slate, yes, that this is slate put into this wall to make this shape of a humanoid. But I've told you and showed you that slate is mud rock. I've shown you 5 different stages of mud turning into slate, and then it metamorphosizes into 5 different stages of rock and 5 different types. So slate is mud rock. So this, you see where these lines are, will have been where this is either saturated or petrified wood, or it's mud rock. And if it's mud rock, it's because the wood has rotted away, which is what I think this is. Again, this is another excavation, and some of this could actually be, it looks like almost petrified or saturated wood when you look at that one there, this here and these, but I think it's actually mud rock that's been shoved into a wooden structure like a lattice work, yeah? So the wood will have been in between what you're seeing now, and it's rotted away because it's in a damp area. It's in a forest, a tropical rainforest. So the wood has rotted away, and where they've been shoving mud and clay over decades, time and time again, and reforming the structure, as more and more people live in it, they smother mud in it, and it gets deeper and deeper into the wood, which is now rotted away, and it gets packed in that hard that it forms slate, which is again mud rock. Right? It's one or the other anyway. This thing here is absolutely unbelievable, because we know, and you should know by now, that Stone Age man did not exist. And if they had knowledge of being able to make wheels in the first place and create this exactly the same way as you would make a wagon wheel, it even looks like it might have even had ball bearings in there. So if they had the knowledge of being able to do this, they wouldn't carve it out of rock when it would weigh about 10 ton, when they could just make it out of wood or metal, okay? But the reason why I'm showing you this is because if you look there, you will see a double rim, like a hexagon shape. If you can't see this, you'll have to go to my Google site. The images are there. a hexagon shape, right, which is where spokes were, or this was some type of cog. But at the end of the day, the reason why it's rock now is because it fell sideways into all this clay, silt, and got embedded in it. And as all this either rusted away or rotted away, it became an imprint. It got embedded in it and turned into mud rock, because that is mud rock. It's an imprint of what this thing was, and that proves it. So again, I don't know where this is, but these are not stone wheels made by a Barney Rubble, are they? I don't even think these were carved like this. I think it's some type of imprint again that's been washed out of somewhere. This here, every single one of these, they put down as being cart ruts. And this, to me, as soon as I saw it, it's built in the exact, well, I think it's an imprint of something like how scaffolding on the side of a bridge, or how the Eiffel Tower is built in a crisscross fashion with girders, right? Even this bit here, you know, they are crossed and then held together with a flat piece there, and then they're crossed again, right? You can't just have them crossed and then crossed, because they would just collapse. You have to hold them in place. But it's just an imprint of girders, and that's why it's red, because as it's rusted away, all this is oxidization. Can you see this shape? Which is what I think this is. This just looks like some type of, if you've seen any warehouses being constructed, you know, the ones that they knock up in about 6 months, they're just basically a skeleton frame. They are girders, they're just framework, and the outer walls are just, you know, they're just light shells of thick plastic or some type of metal, and they bolt them into position. And that's exactly what this thing looks like to me. Again, you can go inspect the image. I've just pointed you in a direction that I think that it might be, but archaeologists have got, this is attributed to the Inca in South America, and they've got this down as being some type of burial ground, right? But this thing, these pots, this thing is actually above this. You know, there's a gap, you could walk under this. So it's not the ground. It looks exactly the same as if you go and type into your laptop and look for videos. There's not too many at all on the Twin Towers and structures like that being constructed. The outer sections were put down in huge pieces, exactly the same as this. Exactly the same. There will be a hole there and a gap there. It's just filled in, and it's just the outer wall of some structure that's falling down. These pots look absolutely clean and brand new and unbroken because they've been put there by I don't know who. This thing here, I know you can't see up here, it's too dark when I'm filming this way, but you will see that archaeologists or somebody has come and gouged scratches all the way across this to make it look like it's been carved with primitive tools, all the way everywhere. This has been done really recently because it's white as snow. These scratches here, these indentations are white as snow. It's been done recently, and it's to hide the fact that this is in fact structural. It's concrete that has now turned to limestone. This entire mountainside will have this running all the way through it. This section fell away for some reason, and peoples of the past put these figures here for some unknown reason. This looks like, to me, like it was underwater. It just looks like huge pieces of iron. I don't know what it was. But there's no natural stone on earth now that has all these holes in it, right? Yeah, you know, basically you could just stick a pen in there, you could ram a knife in that, it just looks so frail, so brittle. And every single crack that you see here wasn't, all this was one piece at one time. These cracks have formed naturally. There's one there, right? You know, if you come back to this site in about 5 years, that will look like a block. Okay? This thing here is very strange. If you look at that one there, that section there, it looks like it's actually a plate. The plate on the front of it is about 3 inches thick, and then there's this build-up stuff behind it. I've got ideas of what it is, I just don't want to say. I'm just pointing that out, and you can come up with your own idea and watch the videos I've made on polygonal walling already. This thing is in Turkey, right? And I think this is oxidization. This just looks like some type of polygonal walling. I don't think it had anything to do with that. I think it's turned into this material. The reason why that is like that, and the same there and the same over here, is to stop any downward motion, right? Any downward pressure, because this will have been raised up off the ground and it stopped it from falling down. I think it was made out of some other material at one time. It was something like a bridge, okay? And it's just turned into that. So you can go look at that. This is Teotihuacan in South America. And it's these things down here that I want to point out to you. You see these here? They should not be there. I can tell you they should not be there. And as the South American government, the military were clearing this site out. It took them 80 years to clear this entire site out, right? And they've obviously left parts of it because they could have basically gone on forever removing this stuff, so they left it. But that shouldn't be there, especially due to the fact that they tell you that these things were built with baskets. People come in and just dumping rubble on the site, when that proves to you 110% that it was built in a different way. Something, look, these lines here, right, are absolutely perfectly aligned, and they are the exact same distance apart from each other, right? So it's something extremely technical, and this is modern day. It's something called crib walling, and that's what it eventually looks like. And even these little knobbies is the reason why I've shown you this image, is because those pyramids, some of the smaller ones still have these little knobs on, and it's to eventually smother something over them, right? Or you could do that with it. This is what it looks like, right? And it's down in, look, you can see how these are perfectly aligned and perfectly spaced in the exact same way that I've just shown you, right? And what I'm getting at is some pyramid there must, and I say must, have been built in the exact same way as this crib wall building. If you want to go do a search on it, and you pour concrete down them, right, and you build them in sections like this. So imagine if this went underwater and went through an thousands of years, say, what do you think would happen to this concrete, right? If peoples in the future wanted to clear this site away, what do you think it would look like? Personally, I think it would look exactly the same as what I've just been showing you.